morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Monday, July 8th, 2028. I, of course, with Originator Success here, the Daily Mortgage Rate Update, the only place on the web where you guys get to join me live on Facebook and on YouTube at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time as we talk about what's going on in the markets and rates and pricing and all that good stuff. If you are watching on the replay, don't forget to give me a hashtag replay in the comments. Hashtag replay. Let me know that you were here. Let Facebook or YouTube know that you were here. Don't forget to smash that like button, tag an LO friend, share us in a group. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Click that thumbs up. Maybe click on the notification bell. There's a little bell when you subscribe. You can click it and actually be notified when we do a video each morning. Also, if you would like to sign up for our written lock advice, you could do that, www.ratelockadvice.com. Sign up to get an email to your inbox each and every weekday morning. You can sign up for our text alerts, www.ratetextalerts.com. $7 a month. You can't beat them. You should join them. Check out our text reminder if you want to be reminded that I'm going live each and every weekday. And that way you don't miss a fresh episode. Go ahead and sign up at hmmr.io/reminder. Last but not least, check us out at originatorssuccess.com. Find out how we help you get loans from Google and all right. Y'all still back? You back with me? Let me know in the comments if you're back with me. Anyway, sorry about that. Looks like we had some technical difficulties. That's what happens when you live in the mountains, the beautiful mountains of North Carolina. So sometimes that happens. Anyway, all right, well, let's jump in and talk about what we got going on this morning. Rate sheets this morning should be at least slightly better. We saw some nice improvements on Friday. However, not nearly as much as I think we could have seen. Thank y'all for letting me know. Here you go. And taking a look here, though, mortgage-backed securities up 6 basis points on the day. We started down due to overnight trading and then recovered all of it and are kind of squeaking up a little bit. Basically, when pricing came out on Friday, we were right around 160-ish, right? And this morning we are up around 100.67. So like I said, we're up about 6 basis points on the day. Nothing to get too excited about. Also, take a look at this 10-year treasury yield. This is telling us a lot. We're at 4.29. That's not nearly as good as we were hoping to see, right? We would like to see this have continued to have moved lower. On Friday, we ended at 4.28. We're actually right now, oh, look at that. Well, it says 4.28 there. Let me refresh this and see. We're at 4.29, but it's really not improving much is the bottom line. Taking a look at where we're at here. So we do have room to improve. Reprice risk on the day, though, is low. It's not too likely that we have to worry too much about things getting too much worse from here. Rates are likely to hold and could even improve a little bit this week. So we've got a few things going on this week. We've got tomorrow, Fed Chair Jerome Powell will start his speaking in front of Congress. He'll be in front of Congress Tuesday and Wednesday, but Tuesday is really the big day. We're going to get his prepared comments at about 9 a.m. I believe it's at 9 a.m. and I think he starts his live stuff at 10 a.m. We usually see markets react to the live comments. We're going to hear more of the same of what we heard, though. You know what we've been hearing? That they want to see more data, blah, 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 right? I mean, that's a lot of what we keep seeing. I'm going to go ahead and do a side-by-side here. Let's take a look at some of this other stuff together. I'll pop this up right here. So we're seeing a lot of the same comments from different Fed members. You know, here's Williams. Fed Williams says inflation job not done despite progress. Fed still has work to do in bringing inflation to the 2% goal. Remember, they're not using the CPI data that we're going to get this week. They're using the PCE number. So this CPI data definitely matters. The number we get here definitely matters, but they're using the PCE number. The CPI number always comes in higher. The PCE number is the number they're looking at to get to 2%. But, you know, they say a lot of the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over, right? We see the same thing being said. The Fed's pal is likely to say policymakers need further confirmation that inflation is slowing before they're in a position to cut interest rates when he speaks to Congress on Tuesday and Wednesday. His comments come ahead of Thursday's consumer price figures for June, which are forecast to show a further moderation of cost pressures. Now, this kind of sets us up, though, because we have a forecast that we're going to see inflation continue to improve. If we don't get that reaction, that's going to be bad for mortgage rates. We'll see them creep up a little bit. Overall, though, it should be pretty good. Big bond bet favored by Citi and JP Morgan ahead of the data is getting a boost. Markets are calm. What is that actually talking about here? That's talking about right here. So the bet here is by Citi and JP Morgan is that we're going to see the yield curve steepen, right? We'd actually seen it grow inverse. The bet yield curve will normalize toward a steeper slope is suddenly looking as good as it has in months, with traders eyeing the latest print of the consumer price index this week for additional support. It got an initial boost after Biden's debate performance appeared to ease Donald Trump's path to retake the White House. Again, I think the media is making more out of this than what is actually there. I don't believe that we saw nearly as much of a reaction to this as what the media paints. In its aftermath, strategists at banks including Citigroup, JP Morgan Chase, and Morgan Stanley have touted the so-called Trump trade. The idea is the Republicans' policies on tariffs, immigration, and deficits will lead investors to demand higher yields on longer mature treasuries. It's the idea that this is going to lead to inflation. I don't necessarily agree that this is going to happen. I also don't agree that markets are preparing for it as much as seems to get talked about in Bloomberg. It's not talked about as much in some of the other sources. Bloomberg definitely hits it hard. But that's definitely one of the things to be aware of what's going on right now. The other thing, of course, what's going on in France is playing a nominal role, and that's partly why we saw the initial negative reaction in bonds that you see right here. This big drop lower in overnight trading is generally because of what's going on overseas. But what's going on in France is actually, let's see if they talked about it here. Nope, they didn't really talk about it here. So we'll bring it up over on this side. Good morning, John Warner, Michael Love, Greta, Brandy, Ron, Siegel. So anyway, we got all this stuff here going on. This week, though, it's going to be tomorrow, Tuesday. We've got Fed Chair Jerome Powell's prepared comments. He'll be speaking in front of, I believe he starts out in front of the Senate, but I'd have to double check. I haven't had a chance to read the article yet. He always speaks in front of the Senate committee and then the House committee. So, you know, whichever one he starts first, but I think it's the Senate first, but it might be the House first. Let's see if they actually... blah, 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 blah. Now, as far as politics go, there is a lot of talk about the pressure on Biden to go ahead and step aside. I'm looking to see. Nope, it's not as big on here it is. Let's go ahead and click on this. But anyway, there's a lot of talk about this politics. As you know, this could start playing a little bit of a role, but I don't think it's going to play a tremendous role. But we could see it cause some wish-wash through the markets as we get more talk about Biden being replaced. I think at this point, he would have to step aside first before he would actually be replaced. But there's talk of pressure to have him replaced because they're afraid of a trickle-down effect where Democrats, you know, they feel like it's going to affect other Democrats running because of Biden being hurt. You know, I don't know. We'll see. So there's talk that it could be Vice President Kamala Harris, because then they can go ahead and he can request that his delegates switch their support to her. There's talk that a lot of the supporters, the people that have put the money, she could be able to take the money because they're running as a ticket. So she'd be able to keep that money. And that's a huge thing going on. Don't think that it's not. So anyway, there's a lot of this stuff. As far as bonds and that go, we're not up too much on the day, just a little bit, but it's definitely better than being down. I think we're going to go ahead. I think reprice risk is low on the day. I don't think we're going to see too much movement. We definitely could see a little bit of improvement tomorrow, depending on what Powell says. Thursday's the big day with the CPI data. Friday, we're going to get wholesale inflation. If depending on what goes on with CPI data, wholesale inflation has had a more of a role and has helped bonds improve the last couple of times. So we do have a pretty good shot of seeing rates improve this week. Right now, Mortgage News Daily showing us at about 7.03. That puts us very near the same best levels that we saw in June, just a hair better than that. And that's probably all that we're really looking at. We'd have to really see a big miss in inflation. We'd have to see it really show inflation coming down in order to see rates drop much lower from here. So we're likely to tread water, improve slightly. Definitely some volatility later in the week. Puts us in a position that we've been in for quite a while now, which is cautiously float anything closing near term and then float anything that's got a little bit of length to it. Remember, when you're seeing this, though, last week is a great lesson. A lot of people panic when we see rates move higher. We were at say 7.03 on the 25th, which was a Tuesday in June, 7.02 on Monday, got a little bit worse. Then things got worse the following week before they get better. People panic as soon as rates start to get a little worse. And that's why we're cautiously floating anything closes in the next couple of weeks, because you don't have a lot of room to recover if things get worse. So if you like the pricing and the loans closing in the next couple of weeks, consider locking just for protection. If you do float, you're floating to see what happens with the CPI inflation data on Thursday. So, keep that in mind. But as far as pricing goes, today should have really good pricing, maybe even a little bit better than what we saw on Friday, especially if these gains can hold or improve through the end of the day. So Ron Siegel says today is National Chocolate with Almonds Day. That makes this an almond joy kind of morning versus Mounds, because sometimes you feel like a nut and sometimes you don't. So if you have chocolate without the almonds, that would be Mounds. Otherwise, chocolate with almonds and, of course, the coconut, that's an almond joy. So, all right. And it's been my pleasure and my joy to work with you all this morning. I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.